Salvete discipoli. So this week we are starting back our part-time in-class on campus. So most of my sixth graders are returning to campus once a week. So this video is for those of you who are choosing to remain fully remote for the time being. I did want to still create some videos for you guys so you can still get some access to the lessons that we're going to be doing in class. So this is for you guys. As with our previous videos with our vocabulary, when I'm saying the Latin words, make sure you're repeating them after I say them. Take notes on the vocabulary words and what they mean in your Latin notebook. And then be sure that you're checking the Flex Grids and Google Classroom for any assignments and things like that. Now, since you guys are fully remote, for things that I say will be turned in person, obviously you guys will be submitting them to me digitally. So I will be making sure to be clear about how that's going to work for those of you who are staying remote. But for this video, we're just going to be going over our new vocabulary for this week, which is going to be some animal vocabulary. So Animalia is our Latin word for animals. So we're going to be learning some Latin words for animals, which is fun. And just like with our words that we learned last week, these are nouns, right? Animals count as nouns, and they're going to have grammatical gender. So most nouns only have one grammatical gender. It's going to be either masculine, feminine, or neuter. We're not going to see any neuter nouns just yet, so we're going to focus on masculine and feminine. There are a couple of animal nouns that can be both masculine and feminine. But for the most part, most of our animal words will only have one grammatical gender. And this is where things can get a little confusing because certain Latin words, even if it's an animal word that is a masculine word, it doesn't mean that it only refers to the male animals. So just take note of the grammatical gender, and again, we'll kind of do more with that as we go forward. Once we start using adjectives, I'll kind of explain a little bit more about that. Without further ado, on to our vocabulary. So our first word we have is canis. Canis. And this is one of those ones that I mentioned that can be either masculine or feminine. This is our Latin word for dog. Oh, and I need to move my face so you can see the funny joke. If you are familiar with Lord of the Rings, this made me laugh. It's a quote from Lord of the Rings. So canis is our Latin word for dog. We get the English word canine from this. So canis. Then we have feles. Feles. And this word is a feminine word and is our word for cat. This is where we get the word feline from in English. And this is what I mean when I say, so the word itself is feminine, but it doesn't mean that all cats are girls. So we have to kind of separate grammatical gender from how we typically think of gender. So the word for cat is feminine, but it is used for both male and female cats. Polus. Polus. This is going to be our word for chicken. This is related to the word poultry in English. There's a few spelling changes from the Latin to the English, but it is related to our word for poultry, which is referring to birds, to specifically chickens usually. So chicken, this is our word for chicken. Waka. Waka. This is another feminine word. This is going to be our word for cow. Now, this one is actually specifically for cows, being female cows. There is actually a separate word for bull, which I did not include in this lesson, but if you are curious what the word for bull is, it is taurus, Taurus. It's a masculine word, and that is specifically for a bull. But for now, this word waka is our word for cow. In Northern California, where I'm from, there's a town called Vacaville. So it literally means cow town. It's kind of funny. Equus. Equus. This is the masculine word. It's our word for horse. This is our Latin word for horse. We get the word equestrian from this, and equestrian is someone who rides horses. Porcus, porcus. This one should hopefully be easy to figure out. This is going to be our word for pig. It's a masculine word. It is related to our word pork. So hopefully that one is easy to remember. Porcus is our word for pig. Ovis, ovis. This is a feminine word. This is our word for sheep. Lepus, lepus. And this is our word for rabbit. Awis, awis. This is a feminine word, and it is our word for bird. And this is where we get the word aviary from this, A-V-I-A-R-Y in English. Aviaries are places where they have lots of birds, like a birdhouse. Also the word aviation, meaning like having to do with like airplanes and helicopters and things like that, flying things. Aviation is related to our Latin word for bird. Tigris, tigris. This is a masculine word. It is our word for a tiger. And hopefully this one is obvious as well. It does look quite a bit like our word for tiger. There's a lot of similarities there. Lupus, lupus. This is a masculine word. This is our word for a wolf. If you are familiar with the Harry Potter series, there's a character named Remus Lupin, and his last name is from this word, actually. The author of the Harry Potter books studied Latin, and so she actually included a lot of Latin in her stories. It's kind of cool. So lupus is our word for wolf. And there's a few animals, and wolf is one of them, where there is actually a feminine version for if you're specifically referring to a she-wolf, and that would be lupa. So there is a separate word for a she-wolf, but lupus, this masculine form, is the more commonly used form. So that's why I only gave you this one. Ursus, ursus, another masculine word. This is our word for bear. And this is one like lupus that does have a feminine form, ursa, for a female bear. That form is what we see. There's a constellation called Ursa Major and Ursa Minor that is based off of a story from Greek mythology, and it is meant to represent a mother bear and her son bear. So Ursa is the feminine form, but again, Ursus is the more common form we'll see, so that's why I've only given you the masculine form. Simia, simia. This is another one like canis that can be either masculine or feminine. It's usually going to be feminine because of this A ending, but it can sometimes be used in a masculine way. And this is our word for a monkey. Simia. Elephantus. Elephantus. Hopefully this one is obvious since the English just gets rid of this US ending. This is indeed our word for an elephant. Leo. Leo. If you're familiar at all with the zodiac signs, Leo is one of the zodiac signs, and it is, again, the constellations are based off of Greek mythology and Roman mythology. And Leo is the lion. This is our Latin word for lion. And again, we'll probably do a lesson on the zodiac constellations and their mythological origins, because I have a fun lesson that I've done on that in the past. Leo, if you are a Leo, you are the lion from the zodiac. Serpens. Serpens. And this is another one that can be either masculine or feminine. This one, I believe, is also usually feminine, but it can be both. This, we get an English word from this. We just changed that last letter. We get the word serpent from this. So this is going to be our word for snake. And I did not include any actual images of snakes because they all looked a little creepy. And I prefer the cartoon images of the snakes. So those are all of our animal words for now. There's lots of other animal words. So if you guys would like to learn more animal words, I can definitely do sort of a Animalia part 2 lesson with some additional animal words. But for now, make sure you have all of these words written down. And again, take note of the grammatical gender. Don't worry too much about whether or not you can remember that part for now. We'll practice that more once we start adding adjectives into it. So practice saying these words out loud, get these notes down, and then the assignment for this week, I'm going to be creating a word search for you all. So for my students who are remote, you'll be doing that and submitting that digitally. So I'll give you more instructions about that on the Flex Grids and on Google Classroom. So thank you, gratias, and walete discipuli. Please email me if you have any questions about anything. I know being fully remote is going to be a little bit tricky since I don't get to see you in person, but I will have some office hours available if you need them. Just make sure that you contact me, and I am here to support you in any way I can. Thank you, walete.